big development between India and the United States. It started off with a statement that Trump made on Truth Social, chastising India for continuing to buy Russian oil. And for the first time, India put out a very, very strong statement. The Ministry of External Affairs put out a statement, a very strongly worded statement, late in the night, closer to about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the night, where it basically sort of called out Trump for the double standards and the hypocrisy of both the United States and the European Union when it comes to doing business with Russia. It had some stats about how much imports of goods the European Union had made with Russia in the last year, about 60 billion or so. That's just in goods, another 17 billion in services. And also with this double standard that Trump seems to be exhibiting when it comes to U.S. imports from Russia. For example, the United States imports uranium for some of its nuclear reactors, not the fuel, but a refined version of uranium, which is required to run the reactors it imports from Russia. Similarly, palladium, which is used to make electric vehicle batteries, again, the United States imports from Russia. So that statement was very, very strong. Now, there are three implications or analysis from that statement. Number one, it's the strongest statement that the government of India, the Ministry of External Affairs, has put out in response to Trump. It really calls out the double standards and the hypocrisy of both America and Europe. This wouldn't have been put out. Diplomats and diplomacy is known to be, very mild when it comes to language, not the strongly worded statement that we saw last night. So clearly, if the statement had to come out, clearance had to be given for the statement at the very highest level of the political leadership. So unless there was a go-ahead from the very top, such a strongly worded statement would not have come out. And number two, I think somewhere in that statement a calculation was also made, a diplomatic/political calculation was made that Trump can't be allowed to be making these statements, ad nauseum. Virtually every day he was sort of taunting India and insulting India about buying Russian oil. So to put out a statement which directly and very purposefully and very clearly calls out the Western double standard when it comes to engaging Russia, I think that was a very clear signal that a decision has been made at the very highest level that no more taking these taunts and no more taking these kind of insults from Donald Trump. And if that's going to have a fallout, and likely it will have a fallout, then India is prepared to factor that in. India is prepared to deal with that fallout. Now, what could the fallout be? Number one, I guess this is now just inevitable that Mr. Trump will impose some kind of penalty on India for buying Russian oil. Whether that's 10%, 20%, 100%, we don't know. It's up to Trump. There is a bill that's being shepherded by Lindsey Graham, a Republican senator, which talks about imposing secondary tariffs on India and China for buying Russian oil. That bill, I think, talks about in excess of 100%. Eventually, it may not be that higher level. But it also means the second thing that could happen is that India has to now brace itself for the long haul. The short-term relationship, the nature of the relationship is broken. I think there is a breakdown of trust from the highest level to the ministerial level to the diplomats level. I think there is going to be a lot of short-term turbulence, no doubt about it, in the India-US relationship. This has to be arguably the lowest point in the last 30 years in the relationship between Washington and Delhi, and I don't see it getting any better in the next few days and weeks. This is going to be a turbulent phase for the next 2 or 3 months, possibly even leading up to a year. But I think one big takeaway for India is India needs to keep the big picture in mind, and the big picture is that Trump is going to be in office only for the next 3 years, but the India-US relationship is going to outlast Trump. So they need to perhaps keep that bigger picture in mind. But I think the immediate near term is going to be turbulent between India and the United States.